Welcome everyone! In this video, I'm going to present you some of the new features that were included in the latest release of MAKIRA Approve S4. Here is a quick overview of the newest improvements you're about to see. For this demonstration, we will be using SAP S4 HANA system. And let's start the demo now. First, I will show you the merged log view in Fiori Apps. We have introduced our new redesign. Now, when you open the log, only the actions and comments are shown initially. You can view at a glance the important messages because the full log is switched off by default. Right now, we have action by the user Wilma Worker, who has approved the document, and by Anya Approver, who has rejected her item, and you can see her comment. Of course, if you need to look at the full log, it's also easily available by switching it on and selecting the type of messages that you'd like to see. Errors are the most useful when something went wrong. And there are also warnings, information messages, and success messages. Right now, here we have the full list of messages which have been issued during processing of the document so far. It's important to mention that this log is visible in all MAKIRA Approve applications. If we switch to the Invoice Overview app, opening the very same invoice, in the Details page, we see an identical layout, which makes it so easy to navigate, to understand and filter out what had happened across all the applications. And in the Action History application, we have the same control. The messages are presented the same way as we saw them in the Approval app and Invoice Overview. Here is how it looks like in the My Action History Analytics application. The same option to switch on and off the full log and decide what kind of messages to display here. It's important to mention that once the user has made a selection to see the full log and to see only some kind of messages, that is synchronized across all MAKIRA Approve applications. So right now, the user has decided to see full log with only warnings and errors. If he goes out from My Action History Analytics and navigates to Invoice Overview, for example, no matter which document he opens, he will see exactly the full log with errors and warning messages. And now let's move on to the Action History report. We have two separate analytic apps, Action History Analytics and My Action History Analytics. When you use My Action History Analytics, it shows only actions performed by the user that is logged in. Currently, the user Wilma Worker is logged in, and she is able to see the actions that she has done, no matter if she was the original user or the substitute. Here are the actions. By default, it shows the actions only for the last 30 days. Now, we will switch to Action History Analytics. It could be considered as an administration version of the application. Here you can see actions performed by all users in the system and not by the current user only. And here is the comparison between the different users and how many actions each of them has performed. Here we have the option to make a KPI analysis about the performance of each of the users. And now we will look at the workflow log. There are two types of workflow log in the applications. In the Approval app, there is a tab called Workflow Log, which right now is inside the Info button. It's a short log showing only the main steps in the workflow so far, like who has started the workflow, and it's very limited. In Invoice Overview, we have the option to see the details for the document. Here we have the Workflow Log and the Workflow Info buttons. The workflow log opens the full workflow log. That's the technical log that we normally see in SAP GUI. We have the option to make full analysis based on the full workflow log. Besides that, we also have the workflow info button, which displays again information about the work item. Now we will look at Supplier Invoice command for send to AOB. In this scenario, an accounts payable agent receives a work item in his inbox, and he opens the work item in Supplier Invoice Plus, so he is handling the invoice. If he sees that something is not correct, he can decide to send the document to an AOB user. Now we have a functionality to add a command as an optional or a mandatory step in order to make the communication between the accounts payable manager and the line of business user easier. And now the document is sent for AOB handling. And when the AOB user checks his inbox, he will get a work item in Handle AOB task, and the command that was added by the accounts payable user will be displayed there. The customizing, if the command should be optional, mandatory, or switched off, can be changed in MAKIRA Approve Administration section as part of the Supplier Invoice MIR4 configuration. You can choose if the send to AOB or the send to AP agent command is optional, mandatory, or switched off. Besides the option to see the last user comment inside Supplier Invoice Plus, we have also added a column in Invoice Overview, so if you open it with the right user, in our case that's Benny Bookkeeper, the last user comment column is displayed so agents can easily see if some document has an important comment. And now let's see the Invoice Overview mass operation improvement. If the user would like to do a mass, for example, reminder sending, he can select the lines as he would like, and he could easily send reminders for all these work items, which are pending in someone's inbox. Send reminder, and now the reminders start sending one after another for each of these selected work items. When all is green, everything is ready. The same can be done for restart workflow, terminate workflow, or start possible workflow. Now we will have a look at the message confirmation. In Invoice Overview, we have a column called Attention Status. In case some explicitly maintained message is issued during invoice creation, we can have different statuses like notification, confirmation, and confirmation with note. The green ones are already confirmed messages and nothing has to be done there. Let's see this one, confirmation with note. We can open the invoice and we can see that there is a confirmation message pending activity. We can expand it to see it better. And now we go in change mode. If we would like to confirm it, we just press confirm. When we save the document, the message will be changed to green and it is now a confirmed message. We have the same approach for the other kinds of messages. And lastly, we will have a look at adding attachment files. When we open the approval work item, we can see that there is no attachment. We have the attach button and we can choose a document that we would like to attach to this invoice. We can add a description and upload it in archive link. We can see the invoice immediately. It's important to say that the option for deletion of attachment is active only for attachments that have been uploaded by the same user. We can delete it, and now there is no attachment on this invoice anymore. If we open the same invoice in Supplier Invoice Plus, we also see the option to attach files here. And once uploaded, they are visible immediately. I hope you enjoyed this brief feature walkthrough. There are many more new features in the current release, so please don't hesitate to reach out for assistance with upgrading or setting up the new features. Remember, release notes and functional guides can be found on the product portal. Next major release of MAKIRA Approve will take place in the second quarter of 2024. See you and watch out for our new videos.